Hello students, I hope that the stated design of a synchronous machine has been completed, which is mostly similar to the stated design of induction machine. Only few differences are there. So after having some data of the stated design of a synchronous machine, we can go for the design of a rotor structure of a synchronous machine. So we do have a two type of a rotor structure. One is a salient pole type and another is non-salient pole type, or also called cylindrical type of a rotor. Okay, for simplicity I have shown only two poles. Okay, the common thing is that there will be a field winding which is supplied by a DC source, so that poles can be generated like this. Okay, and field winding will be wound like this, and in slot and tooth type of structure, in case of a non-salient pole type of rotor, field winding will be there. Okay, and some DC source will also be used to flow the field current so that it can be excited. Okay, so let us start the design of a rotor with some basic things. Okay, so the first thing is flux in the pole body. We need to calculate the flux that has been produced by this pole. Okay, so it is very simple equation to calculate it. Flux in pole body phi p, it is leakage coefficient into useful flux per pole. Okay, so leakage coefficient, it is denoted as CL into the useful flux per pole, because we need to consider what is the leakage flux, and mostly the value of leakage reactance varies from 1.15 to 1.2, because it depends on the material used and which type of structure is used. Okay, so this value is a variable value. Okay, so in case of examples, this value will already will given to you. Okay, now the second thing is area of a cross section. Area of cross section of pole body. Okay, let us denote it as AP is equal to phi p, the calculated value of the flux, divided by B P, that is the flux density. Okay, and this flux density in case of a synchronous machine rotor, it will vary from 1.5 to 1.7 Tesla. Okay, so if we see the top view of let us say it is salient pole type of a rotor, it may look like this. Okay, the top view may look like this. Okay, or it may have a circular shape like this also in some cases. Okay, so let us say this is the radius. Okay, width in this case this will be the radius, and this is going to be the length, because this is the top view, length of the pole, width of the pole. Okay, so for rectangle poles, as shown in this figure, the value of area of cross section can be calculated as 0.98 times LP times BP, and the axial length of the pole LP is taken as equal to the gross stator core length, that is capital L. Okay, the main dimension that we have calculated in case of induction machine examples. Okay, and the stacking factor of the pole lamination is taken as 0.98, because it is laminated body in many cases. Okay, and for circular poles, this kind of poles we can calculate is like pi by 4 into square of the width. Okay, so these are some simple things. Okay, now if you proceed further, then we need to calculate the height of the pole. okay, because these two are the dimension from the top view that you can see, okay, but still we don't know what will be the height. Okay, height you can see over here, okay. In case of a front view, you will be able to see the height, okay, but this is the top view. It just shows the what is going to be the width and what is going to be the length, okay. So height of the pole, it is the next objective. Now the dimensions of the pole and the yoke are not calculated yet. So the value of a field MMF can be calculated. Okay, or I can say estimated, not calculated. It is just approximated value. Okay, so for that purpose, we need to know the value of no load EMF. Okay, sorry, no load MMF. It is. Okay, so how to calculate or how to see the MMF at no load, full load, at normal value of the voltage, that we are going to discuss later. That is a very simple method, just from open circuit characteristic curve that you have seen before. From that only we can estimate this thing. Okay, so let us say no load MMF is given by short circuit ratio. Okay, you know that is 1 upon reactance into ampere turn of the armature. So again this is unknown for you, okay, but once you have conducted the open circuit characteristic test on your synchronous machine, you will be able to know this from the graph itself, okay. Or one method is also there to calculate it. One equation is there, okay, that is given by 2.7 times IPH into TPH into KPH divided by P. Okay, so by this method also you can find out the value of ampere turn or MMF of the armature. Okay, so let us proceed the further. Let us say we do have the value of ATA. Suppose you don't have the open circuit characteristic. This equation is very useful. Okay, now the next step. Okay, so over here there is a procedure to find the full load field MMF. Okay, so it is very easy, and that thing you have some similar kind of thing you have already seen in your previous semester when you have studied the synchronous machine part. Okay, so you know the value of ATF0 no load EMF. Okay, so the first step is that draw OA. Okay, where OA is similar to the ATF0. You need to take certain scale, okay, that this much ampere turn is equal to this much centimeter, and that centimeter you can draw over here. Okay, next step is to draw AB. Okay, or you have to locate one point B, and this thing will depend on the power factor, because synchronous machine, you know that if it is motor, it can operate at any power factor, and in case of generator, it depends on the which type of load is connected. Okay, so over here we need to draw the ATA, okay, that we have calculated from the previous equation. Okay, convert it into the centimeter and draw it like this. Okay, with this angle as a 90 minus 5. Okay, you need to know the value of the power factor. After having power factor, you can calculate 90 minus 5, and at that angle you have to draw the B. Okay, now in this line AB you have to locate the value of C such that, okay, in between you have to locate one point C, okay, like this, such that the AC upon AB becomes KR, okay, where KR is called cross reaction coefficient. Okay, it is called cross reaction coefficient, and it depends upon the ratio of pole arc to pole pitch, okay, or simply it depends on the shape of your rotor pole, okay, and mostly this will be given to you, okay, in case of example, okay, or while designing, okay. So you have located some point C, okay, by this ratio, okay. Now the next step is to join OC and extend it, okay. You have to join OC like this, okay, and extend it, okay. Now you have to drop one perpendicular from B to this line, okay, like this, okay, and over here you will have a point D, okay, where OD is called field MMF at full load. Field MMF at full load with power factor cos phi, okay. So at this particular power factor only you have this value of OD, because you know that if you take different value of the power factor, then this 90 minus phi, this angle will change, and accordingly BD will also change, okay, and this length OD will also change, okay, or your field MMF will also change, okay. Now we do have one equation for the MMF of the for the height of the field winding, okay. MMF per meter height of field winding, okay. We have one simple equation to remember, okay. It is 10 raised to 4 SF DF and QF. Now these are the new terms for you, but I will tell you what is it, okay. So SF, it is copper space factor, DF, it is the depth of the winding, and QF, it is the loss per unit surface. Okay, so while solving the example, these value will directly be given to you, okay, or these three value will be given to you, so that by this simple equation you can find out the MMF per meter height of the field winding, okay. So coming to the ultimate objective, height of field winding is full load MMF divided by MMF per meter, okay, that we have calculated by this equation, okay. So we can write that HF is equal to ATF divided by SF DF QF into 10 raised to minus 4. I will take 10 raised to minus 4 on upper side, okay. Or more accurate value if I want to know, then it will be HF1 or I you can take is equal to this value HF plus we want to add not 0.02, it is only 0.02, okay. That much meter means this much value of the meter we are going to add to this calculated value, okay. So this will give you the height of the pole, okay. Now over here the full load field MMF, okay, how to calculate that, okay. So for that over here we have not seen that thing in a detail, but let us see that thing in a detail, how to determine the full load field MMF. determination of full load filled MMF. Okay, so it is at particular condition, okay, because we are assuming that the machine is running at a full load. Okay, so that thing also we are going to calculate from one familiar vector diagram. Okay, so EMF method and ZPFC method you have already seen for the calculation of a voltage regulation. So in that case we have drawn some vector diagram. So similar kind of a vector diagram we have to draw over here. Okay, and we are going to make use of open circuit curve for that. Okay, so open circuit curve in that case you have seen it was between the field current and the armature EMF. Okay, but over here it is a little bit different. So what is the difference, that also we are going to see. Okay, so now whatever data is available to us we are going to use that. Okay, so it is a step by step procedure. Okay, so first of all we need to take suitable scale of the voltage. Okay, and we have to draw the voltage per phase. Okay, whatever value of E or VPH is there, okay, that you have to draw over here. Okay, 1 centimeter is equal to so much voltage. Okay, that scale you can select by yourself. Okay, so a horizontal line, okay, a suitable scale you have to take, and you have to draw the EPH or V. Okay, we can denote it as OA. Let us say it is OA. Okay, next step was to draw the current. Okay, you can take certain current scale also. Okay, so this is voltage scale, this is current scale. We are assuming the power factor is lagging. Okay, and we suppose we know the value of power factor already. Okay, and with angle phi we can draw the current vector like this. Okay, let us denote it as I. So OI will be your current vector, this is your voltage vector. Okay, the next step is to draw the armature resistance drop IARA, so which will be in the same phase with current. Okay, so next step is to draw A, B. Okay, this is A and this is B. Okay, which is parallel to this. Okay, now next step is to draw the leakage reactance drop IA into XL that you have seen. Okay, so that is going to be perpendicular to AB like this. Okay, so let us say C is over here. Okay, so this will be IA into XL. Okay, we can say that it is also perpendicular to OI. Okay, now we can join these points O and C, okay, which is called the generated EMF EG. Okay, so similar kind of a vector that you have seen in the EMF method. Okay, so this EMF EG, generated EMF, okay, to generate this EMF we need some magnetomotive force. Okay, so from where that MMF come. Okay, so for that you need to draw one open circuit characteristic like this. Okay, OCC curve you already know, it will have this kind of a shape linearly, okay, initially, and then it goes to the saturation. Short circuit characteristic also you have seen, it is going to be linear like this. Okay, but we are just going to use open circuit characteristic where we have EMF on this axis and we have ampere turn, okay, or MMF on this axis. Okay, so this is the different value of ampere turn, this is the different value of the EMF, but over here we have some value of EG, we can locate it somewhere over here. Okay, let us say it is over here. So corresponding value of MMF will give you the value of ATG, that is the ungenerated EMF. Okay, so by this you can calculate the value of a generated EMF. Okay, and of course this EMF is going to be lesser than your open circuit EMF. Okay, it is going to be lesser than open circuit EMF. Okay, so next step is to draw OD. Okay, that is similar to the value of ampere turn. Okay, so you can locate it somewhere over here. Okay, and you need to uh, take some scale, okay, because this is voltage, okay, and we are talking about ampere turn, okay, mmf, okay, unit is ampere turn, so both are in the same phase, so you have to take suitable scale, okay, and as per that scale you have to locate certain value. So this is not voltage, but this is the mmf. So with different scale you can take 1 centimeter is equal to so and so ampere turn, okay, and you have to locate certain point over here. Okay, let us say that point is D over here. Okay, and after that you have to locate one more point E, that is the field mmf, equivalent to the armature mmf per pole at a full load which is perpendicular to OI. Okay, so from D, okay, it is going to be parallel to this line, perpendicular to this line. Okay, so I can draw it like this. Okay, E. So again I will repeat what is DE. It is the field mmf equivalent to the armature mmf per pole. Okay, and armature mmf value and this field mmf we are taking as same. How to calculate ATA, that we have seen from one equation. Okay, like this, 2.7 into IPH TPH winding factor divided by the pole. Okay, now again this point, okay, we have to locate KR just like previous case. Okay, the ratio, okay, or cross reaction coefficient, okay, that value would be given to you. Okay, and we have to bisect this line. We have to locate certain point depending on the value of KR. Okay, such that your DF, okay, we have to locate certain point F over here such that DF is equal to KR times DE. Okay, let us say that point is somewhere over here. Okay, if that points come over here, then from O we have to join this and we have to extend this. Okay, and this point we can take as F. Let us say it is F. Okay, and we have to extend this line. Okay, we have to drop one perpendicular from E, okay, to this line like this. Okay, and we can extend these also, one perpendicular. Let us say this is the point G. Okay, so now we have the one triangle, we have the line EG, and we have OG, okay, where OG is ampere turn at full load. Okay, this is going to be my ampere turn for full load mmf.